So shoot your shot, always, always. Like, again, that's how I got most of my jobs. Like reaching out to people, or someone referred me. But like, you have to. If you don't take a chance, you're not gonna move anywhere.
All right. We tapping in. Podcast 23. This is the second episode where we will spark the brain that will change the world. Today we have a very, very special guest. I'm here with my co-host,
Kofi. How y'all doing?
Kofi. I like that. The confidence is here on this episode. So today we have Chloe Lucan, a wardrobe stylist, custom designer, ready to wear developer. Am I correct?
Yes.
Product developer. Is there more? Just say it. Just throw it in there.
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So we have a list of big name brands that you have worked with over, a period of time. We got GQ, Levi, Vogue, FOOTLOCKER, VOX MEDIA, Ebony Mag, Gold Brand, Jordan Brand. Shout out to Jordan Brand, HBO, and Showtime. Wow, that was a long list. And not many people get to actually work with them. Some people get to, wear their brand, but not really work with them. So bring us along this journey of like who you are and how you got to this point to do all the special things in fashion.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. This is my first podcast ever. So like you said, my name is Chloe Lucan. I am first gen Sierra Leonean from Silver Spring, Maryland. I grew up there my whole life. When I first got into school and was studying stuff, I was into business, actually. I have a degree in economics and international business from Temple University. Mm-hmm. When I first got out of school, I was working at an accounting firm doing economic consulting. I did that for at least like 3 years, and it was not working. Mm-hmm. My boss and I had a conversation, and she asked me, she was like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And if you've ever worked in those financial firms, you know that there is a set course that your career is supposed to take. So I recited that to her, and she was like, no, Chloe, if you could do anything in the world, what would you do? And I told her I would do something in fashion. I said, I don't know what exactly, but I've looked into fashion merchandising and stuff like that, and I would probably try to figure that out. A few months later, she let me go. Now, at first, I thought my world was ending, but I realized that she had set me up for success because I had severance. I got to cash in my vacation, and then I was able to go on unemployment after that. So, okay. I want to say maybe 6 months after it happened, or maybe a year after it happened, I emailed her and I said thank you because I wasn't going to leave. I thought I was a list checker. I didn't really set goals when I was younger. I was a list checker. I was just like, okay, I'm supposed to go to college, get an internship, graduate, have a job. So I had gone through my list, but I wasn't happy, and so I wasn't going to leave. The money was too good. I was making more money than I had seen before, so I wasn't going to leave. So because she pushed me out, I said thank you because I wasn't going to do that on my own.
And with pursuing fashion, was there any doubts in the midst of pursuing it?
Yes, all the time. Because like I said, I'm first gen, so having that conversation with my parents and my family, letting them know actually I'm gonna pursue this passion that I told y'all about when I was a kid that y'all kind of got directed me out of, I'm actually going to give this a try. So there were a lot of doubts. The first question was how do I even get in? How do I get started? And that happened through, I talked to my uncle. So he's always been a consultant in relative to the tech financial space. And at the time, I think he was working at Google or something, but he had classmates from, I believe it was Brown, that were in New York working fashion industry adjacent. So he introduced me to them, and I had phone calls with them. I met up with one of them, and one told me, she was like, okay, so what are you doing in Philly? She was like, you need to leave Philly. But before you leave Philly, you need to get on the ground and actually get into fashion. And she was like, just go get a retail job. And I was like, retail? I never had a retail job. Like in high school, I wasn't even able to get a retail job for some reason.
Oh, wow.
I had other jobs, but so the first thing I did was I got a retail job and I got an unpaid internship as a fashion merchandiser for this home goods and knitwear brand. Okay. But they respected my experience as an economic consultant and gave me real life projects to to sort of run on my own because they knew that I was capable. They knew I had a degree behind me and the experience. So they didn't really treat me like, an intern fresh out of college. So that was a great experience. And then after that, I got another internship but a paid internship this time at a shoe company.
Oh.
So a shoe and handbag company. And so I had the paid internship. I had one retail job, and then I was also taking classes. I think at this time it was at Parsons in fashion merchandising, so I could understand the language. Yeah. Because it wasn't much. Fashion merchandising and product development weren't that different from what I was doing as a consultant or my understanding of business being an economics major. But the biggest difference was what they called it. Yeah. So it was the same equation but different name for it. So.
Interesting. Who you sound like a person that has a lot of strong work ethic. Who did you develop that from? Was it your parents? Somebody in your life that you got that from? Who put that oomph in you? Because you on a roll. That checklist is going.
I mean, I had to. I didn't feel like I didn't want a plan B anymore. I always had it's funny, when I was a kid, I had contingency plans. This sounds weird because I feel like not a lot of children, and I say children high school, middle school, had contingency plans. I was like, okay, I want to be a consultant. If that doesn't work out, maybe I'll be a teacher. If that doesn't work out, I'll do hair. If that doesn't, I had those type of plans. But when I found my way into the fashion industry, I was like, I don't want a contingency. I need this to work. Yeah. But to answer your question, where I got that from, I mean, all my parents all worked, they hustled, but I would say my grandmother. She came to this country, I think, in 97, shortly after my little sister was born, and she always had 2 jobs. So when I first got my job in high school, I think my first official job on paper in high school, I was 14, well, yeah, 14 or 15 because I was a camp counselor. And then I worked at this place called Riderwood, which was a retirement home that had restaurants in it. So I would work the camp job in the morning, and then when I got off, I would go to the restaurant job. And that's because I was like, if my grandma could get up and work 2 jobs, why can't I? Yeah. I was like, I'm 14, 15, and I think at that time she might have been in her 50s or something like that. I was like, if she could do it, I could do it. So that's what I used to say to myself.
And when it comes to dressing people and putting ideas into clothing, what do you think about? For example, say if if I'm gonna dress him up, do I think about his personality, or is it certain attire we already have set up, or color schemes with the skin tone? What goes into that?
I mean, there are several factors that go into dressing somebody. I can say when I'm dressing myself, I start with where I'm going, how I'm feeling, and what's the weather. Those are my bases. But when I'm working on a project, I would say it really depends on the type of project. So there are situations where they give me full creative. They tell me hey, we have X amount of budget and we're doing this project. Can you come up with an idea for us to style, a style idea for this? But there are projects where they already come with the creative, a color palette, and a style sense, and they just want me to execute. So I would say skin tone does matter. I would say setting, scene, time period, budget is a huge factor that a lot of people like to dance around. And I've had to learn how to ease that into the conversation because I kind of talk pretty straight. So when someone hits me up to style, I'm like, what's your budget? But they don't like that for some reason. I'm just like, I have to tailor what I'm doing based on what you have to work with, you know? But I guess like business, it's a lot of the soft skills too.
How does it feel? How does it feel? Like, do you feel like there's any challenges being a woman in business? Like, do you feel like, you know, sometimes dealing with, you know, with bills that it could be, you know, challenging, like, you know, letting them know, like, this is my budget, this is what I'm standing on, you know, in your process?
I will say there are challenges being a stylist. One of them being us being thought of last. For instance, I think when people book and plan projects, they're like, okay, we need the photographer, we need the director, we need set deck, we need, you know, all of these components, and then they think of styling. When we need to be in those planning meetings from jump, because all of those pieces align with our piece as well. I think that's a challenge that we face, and then fighting for the budget. I think as a Black woman, one of the challenges is building connections or finding connections, because I think a lot of how I got into the industry and how I'm continuing in this industry is the grace of God and luck. I've gotten all of my jobs through networking. Somebody said my name somewhere, or I reached out to somebody, and that's how I got my job. So coming from a background where I didn't personally know anybody in the creative industry, I didn't know anybody that even studied anything in the fashion industry or media or entertainment, like, I'm the only person in my family doing what I do. So that is a challenge in itself. And, you know, staying on top of people's minds, because there are many of us doing what we do out here. And, you know I'm special, but there's so many other special people out here. So the biggest challenge is, like, making sure you're on the top. One of the biggest challenges is making sure you're at the top of people's minds when they are crewing up, when they are trying to, like, you know, plan their projects, or when they do get that bid, they're like, nah, I want to work with her, you know?
How do you separate yourself? Like, how do you separate yourself from all the other stylists? Like, is there a certain pitch that you have, or a certain type of, you know, like a way you build a connection with people, or is just your work itself?
I would like to think it's my work. I don't have a particular pitch, but I think that's something it's safe to say that I'm still working on, because, like, I text people, I email people, I DM people. Like, sometimes I'll call people. Like, if we're cool, I'll call you and be like, yo, what are you working on? But for the most part, it's text, email, DM. Like, I'd say these last few months, what I was doing was I went through, I have a folder on my Instagram of, like, to work, people I want to work with that I haven't worked with before, and I'll save them all, and I'll, you know, either if they have an email address available, I'll, you know, draft that email, send it out, or if they don't, I'll DM them and follow up, you know, and if they respond, then I'll send my my website link, or ask them for their email so I can, like, send them, like, the official email. But that's pretty much how I do it.
That work.
Yeah.
You put in that work. I love that.
Pretty much. Because I have a few producers and stuff that will hit me up and, you know, book me on projects, but I'm not at the point where everybody's hitting me up. So I feel like I still need to do that work to reach out to get my projects.
Okay, make sure you reach out. Make sure y'all reach out.
Right.
That's it. That's why we got this podcast, to get you out there.
And schedule-wise, how is, like, the work schedule for you, and how do you make time for everybody?
For the work?
Outside of work, like your family and everybody like that. Like,
work-life balance.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a funny question.
Okay.
Not the question is funny, but it's It's been difficult to balance because when you love what you do, it's sometimes it doesn't always feel like you're abandoning people. It's just like, yo, I got to do this. Like, you know, I'm not at the point in my career where I could just throw off a project, you know, like, I mean, unless it's actually not worth it in any capacity, then I can be like, all right, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to go home. But for the most part, most of the projects I get are worth it. So it has been a little tough to like balance like going home and making sure I'm there for my family events, like birthdays and graduations and stuff like that. It's hard. But sometimes you just have to block out the time. Like, I have other friends that are stylists, and we talk about that. I'm just like, no, like, after, like, if I've been on a project for 2 weeks or a couple months straight, I will make sure I have my 4 or 5 days off afterwards. Okay. Because I need to rest. I need to, you know, regroup. I need to probably get my house in order or, you know, have that family commitment that I said I'm going to be there for. So, you know, it's hard. Like, most recently, like, right now is a slow period. January through about March is a very slow period in our industry, film and freelance. And my sister graduated from cosmetology school. And, yeah, shout out to her. Khalida, you know, love you.
Shout out.
So she told me about this graduation from December, right?
Okay.
So I had it on my calendar, but things have been slow. And I got hit up, I want to say last week in February, to shoot a project for like a branded content shoot for VOX Media. Mm-hmm. And I was like, Khalida, I'm sorry. I was like, I can't. I was like, this is the rate. This is the amount of days that they're booking me for. I was like, I cannot say no to this. And then, you know, the director I was working with was amazing. The storyline was amazing. So I was like, as much as I'd want to be there, I can't.
Yeah.
But, you know, you just have to have those hard conversations. And I truly believe if they love you or if they really fuck with you, they'll understand.
Do you feel, you know, usually us black people, well, a lot of us, you know, we come from tough circumstances, right? And when you're in grind mode, we don't have time for, like, work-life balance. Like, hearing you and hearing the way you speak about your work, it just sounds like you're in, like, real grind mode. Do you feel like you're in that state of mind right now where it's like, I got to put this work in for my career?
I would say so. But I do make time for rest, though. Because I do fully believe that you have to take care of yourself or you won't survive in this industry. Mm-hmm. Because working on TV and film, for instance, the minimum amount of hours you work sometimes is 12 hours. Mm-hmm. And if you're on a project for 6 months, working a minimum of 12 hours a day, you have to rest at some point. Like, I remember I was working on Godfather Harlem, and that was like my first full-time
I love that.
Costume department job. Like, I had like bounced, I was a day player before. So I would like pop in, they need me for a few days, and that was great. But like after the pandemic, they were only doing really full-time positions. So I was working in the costume department, and that was my first time doing it, and I felt so depleted. Like, I would get off work on a Friday night, I couldn't do nothing. Saturday, I'm sleep till 12. Wow. Sunday would be the first day I get up, and I'm like, okay, now I could do my laundry, I could cook some food, I could maybe go grocery shopping, but as hard as I work, I make sure I rest too. Like, even if that just means I'm not doing nothing in the crib. But, you know, I also go out too.
Okay.
I try to balance it within my means. Okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what do you use for inspiration? Like, I know some people in certain fields, they like, I watch certain movies or I go to certain events. What inspires you?
That's hard because I take inspiration from random things. Like, I have a list of ideas that I have for shoots and projects that I got from, like, it could be something I'm looking at. Like, it could be some fabric that I like how it shines and that reminds me of something, and then I relate that to a theme that I want to create in a shoot. Sometimes, you know, nostalgia is always a good point of reference. I think I'm always inspired by like Black culture of the diaspora from various countries. Yeah, I would say that. Oh, I do watch a lot of TV too.
Okay.
When you were younger, were you like into fashion? Like, did you like dress yourself up and put certain clothes on and certain type of outfits when you went to school, or your parents did that for you?
So I started dressing myself in 3rd grade, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't say I was like fashion forward or anything like that, but I did like to put my outfits together.
You was creative at that time.
Yeah, so like I tried things like like the beads that you could use to like make a necklace or something out of in grade school. So I used to like sew those beads on the back of my jeans pocket.
Oh, so you was on it.
No.
You was already doing it.
Even there.
I would have been like, oh, I see you.
Even there. But I would say I really started to like play with my clothing image in middle school through high school.
Okay.
That's when I started collecting Jordans.
Oh,
and that
feet work.
Yeah, that was a big part of my image. Like I don't know how y'all used to dress like back in this time, but like we would layer polos from like Aeropostale, like with tank tops on top to match the color of your shoes.
Okay.
I used to get like Target, right?
That's
right. And then I used to like get knee-high socks from Targets that were like striped and stuff. But like the stripes of the colors had the same colors of my shoes in them.
Yeah.
Oh, Hot Topic. Hot Topic used to have like the dopest T-shirts. I didn't know any of.
That's the name of it. Hot Topic.
Hot Topic.
Where's that at?
It's like it was like in a mall. No, they got one up here. You were where?
Yeah, I was in Florida when I went.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got one up here in New York though. But like it's like a
They might have had it in the mall.
It's kind of like it's a mall thing.
Oh, I think I seen
suburbs.
it. Okay,
Yeah.
I think they might have had one out here. Hot Topic, I think so.
Yeah, it's like a mall out in Queens, I think. But yeah, it's like a gothic store, and they had like all these alternative bands and rock band T-shirts. But the graphics on the T-shirts were so dope.
Yeah.
And they went like I remember I got one that went with my Aqua 8s.
Legendary. You had those too?
I used to really collect, and then like I used to camp out. Like shout out to my dad because if I couldn't go with my friends, he would come to the mall with me like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Favorite Jordan.
Ooh.
Top 3. Give me your top 3.
We could do top 3. I would say the 10s.
Okay.
They were one of my favorites to ball in.
Classic.
The 3s.
Balling. We got to talk about that. You said balling. You just threw that out there.
Okay, so the 10s, the 3s, and
Okay.
the ones I never got, I always wanted some 18s. I remember one time my mom, she surprised me. She got them, but she got the wrong size. Like, it was the last size they had.
Okay.
It was a size 6, and I was a 7.
Wow.
I tried them on and everything. I was like, no, they fit. She was
Gotta
like,
take
girl.
the soul out.
Yeah, you got to take the soul out.
I wasn't hip at that time. I can't remember how old. I think I was in middle school when those came out again, or maybe early high. No, it's probably middle school, but
Okay.
she got them from the store across the street from her job, and they was the wrong size. So
Good
say
picks.
those.
Good picks. So wait. Before we even go to the next topic, you play ball.
I did.
Okay. You still play ball?
No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, no. I can't say I ball still.
The stylist baller.
She can shoot.
Wait, you know what would be fire to design like a jersey? You know the Knicks need new jerseys.
They do.
That would be fire. New
That
York
would be
Knicks,
cool,
holla at my girl over
right?
here, man.
I got ideas.
You got ideas?
I do.
All right, good. So this segment is called Conversation with Your Younger Self. So what you're gonna do is just take a moment and think about yourself around the ages 15 to 18. What are 3 pieces of advice that you would give your younger self if she was sitting right here?
15 to 18. Hold on, I got to think about where I was at. Okay. 15. I was in 10th grade. And then 18. turned 18 my freshman year of college. Okay, so no, maybe I was in 11th grade. So 11th grade to freshman year of college. What would I tell her?
Yeah, 3 pieces of advice.
Okay.
Please.
She can't mess up the timeline though.
Was the timeline confusing? Should I just pick one age?
No, I'm just trying to think.
Because I feel like the 15 to 18 is the age is like you're developing, you're figuring yourself out.
So we would say like for somebody your age, because if we say you might like where you at right now. You don't want to say something past that would change that. So I guess some.
Well, I mean, I have advice for 15 to 18-year-old Chloe.
Talk to her.
I would tell her, don't ignore your passions. Money isn't everything. It's very important, but it isn't everything. Take the time to develop your passions. And it's okay not to know everything and have everything planned out. Yeah, I think that'd be the advice for her.
Wow, that was beautiful.
Because I definitely thought I had everything figured out. And I mean, to be honest, I did everything I said I was going to do.
That checklist.
I checked off the checklist, but then I got there and I wasn't happy. And that's why, kind of getting that second chance to actually create the life that I had envisioned for myself. Because I remember when I was a kid, I always wanted to live in New York.
Yeah.
I loved the arts. I loved classes about humanities, architecture, painting, clothes, fabric. I loved all those things, but I had convinced myself that those weren't feasible means to make a living off of, to be a career. I was like, those are passions. That's not real. You can't do anything with that, outside of a hobby. So that's why that's my advice to her. So, because I followed business. By end of high school, I was taking a business course at the community college so I could get extra credit for college. And it was a business course. And then in my high school, we had this program called the Academy of Finance. So I was already taking accounting, marketing. I don't think we had econ, but we had business related courses in high school. So I was already on my track early by 15. So by 18 and I was in college, I was like, I know what classes to take. I know my major. I used to go to my counselor in college and say, here, these are the classes I plan to take. This is about to be my schedule. Can you check that it's good? Cool. I'm out. And
Do you feel like you're the type of person that has vision? Because it sounds like you already know, this is what I want to do. This is the checklist, and I'm going to keep pushing from here.
Well,
are you...
Go ahead.
No, you...
I would say it's changed a lot since coming to New York and since getting into this industry. I've had to learn how to release control over, how do I say this? Not over my future, but just life. I can put as much effort as I want to into these things. It's always going to be calculated. It's always going to make sense, but I have to go with the flow of life. So I would say one of my blessings is that I have the blessing to execute. I can make things happen. I can make things shake. Now, is my list maybe what needs to happen or exactly how it's going to pan out? No, but I think if I put it on my list, I can make it happen for sure.
Okay. And it's crazy when you said you was doing business in school. It actually relates to fashion. So it's you was setting yourself up for fashion anyways, especially since business is in everything.
In a sense. When it comes to breaking down my budgets and stuff like that, I could do that in my sleep and that's easy. But so my major was economics and I focused on the theoretical side. And I will say that I don't use that part of my brain too much anymore, and I do miss that. But I have friends in different fields, so like when I'm talking to them and they're updating me on different stuff, like I get to flex that part of my brain. But I would say, like, you know, some of the soft skills, like sending emails, being professional, and things like that, you know, that all always helps. But some of the communication style is different. I did have to learn how to, like, soften my communication style a little bit because, again, in business, it's like bullet points, get to the point, but sometimes in fashion, depending on who you're talking to or for what, they want like some flowery language, they want the scriptures, they want visuals and stuff like that. And, you know, you have to adjust. If that's who you're going to work with, you got to adjust. But then, you know, when I'm talking to a UPM, they want bullet points. They want facts. They want it quick, you know, and I had that for them. So it's like there were some skills I came in with, but there was definitely a learning curve for sure.
I got 2 questions.
This
is my new segment.
Let's get it. Let's go.
My first one is, which year of fashion, like which decade do you feel like you wish you did fashion in, or you were your agent, like working, doing what you do that year?
Oh my God. If I could, okay. So for dressing myself, like if I was just a person consuming fashion, I would have wanted to be around for that period between the late 60s and the 70s. I love the style. I love the silhouette. I love the fabrics that they were using. It was just very cool for women and men. Now, if I was working, getting money, I would have been around mid-90s to the early 2000s because I heard the budgets was crazy. The visuals for the music videos were nuts. Like, people were just spending. And I feel like
Missy Elliott videos.
Right? Or Busta Rhymes. Right.
Yeah, very creative.
I would have loved to be there to just see, like, because I feel like people don't make music videos like that anymore.
No.
You know? And I feel like there's a cut. The cuts in the budget limit, to an extent, how people are able to create. I mean, there's some people out here still trying. Okay. But I just don't see that same freedom that comes with that cash in all the departments.
Yeah, damn, you just brought me back. Before we wrap up, what is the greatest piece of advice that you've ever received?
Ever received? Greatest piece of advice I've ever received. I have to think. Give me a second.
Take your time. I love that. You don't rush your answers. That's a beautiful thing. Sometimes we just be rushing.
We don't even think. We just
you just say something just to say it.
No, because I just feel like there's so much life advice out there that I've received, and you know.
You want to give us a top 3?
Let me think about something.
Nice
shoot your shot. For sure. That, like I say it all the time. I'm a shooter.
She played ball.
I'm a.
It all goes back to basketball. We talked about that earlier with Kev.
It does.
It
like
all goes back to basketball.
When you have a sports background, like you think in a certain way. You
yes.
know what I mean? So shoot your shot. Always. Like, again, that's how I got most of my jobs. Like, reaching out to people or someone referred me, but like you have to. If you don't take a chance, you're not gonna move anywhere. So I would say that's one big piece of advice I would give. I would also say
Still like that one. Shoot your shot.
I love the fact that she's like a thinker. Like she takes her time and just like I'm learning a lot from you.
She might be our son.
Yeah, she
might be.
Capricorn?
No.
Oh, see, Jiggie's always relating it back.
I'm into astrology, but I'm a Virgo.
Oh, okay. That's a whole nother conversation. That's another podcast episode.
But yeah, so shoot your shot. I
Okay.
would say be true to yourself. Like listen to what you hear inside of you. You know, I think if you're able to hear what your body is telling you, what your mind is telling you, what your soul is telling you, it shouldn't lead you in the wrong way. And even if you think it is, check in with somebody. Like, I always ask my friends, like, you think I'm tripping? Because you might be. You know, your initial thought might be to wild out or something, or do something that's, like, not aligned with your goals. So, you know, listen to yourself, but don't be afraid to, like, you know, check in with people that you trust to make sure that you're doing what you're intending to do.
I got one last question.
No, do you too?
So I have a friend. She's like my stylist, like my personal stylist. She's not professional. I always ask her like, "Does this look nice?" Da da da. Do your family and friends do that to you?
All the time. That's how I started. That's how.
I would definitely do that to you. Like, hey.
I used to dress my
Cool.
friends for homecoming, like design stuff for my mom and myself and my sister for like weddings and stuff like that. So.
Okay.
It started with family.
Yeah, I was curious because I know some people, they do certain work and they like, all right, I'm off the clock now. Don't ask me.
They don't want to
this.
keep going with it.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I do have to hit people and be like, I hit you in like a couple of days because I'm tapped out right now. But
Oh, you could book me. Nah.
I mean, there's some people like, I had a homie one time, he was like, yo, I need to buy new jeans. Like, what brands, you know, are quality jeans that will last? And I just like, you know, it's already at the top of my head. So like, I just sent them a list. I was like, these brands.
Go for that. Okay. Nah, this is beautiful. First of all, before we even go, I want to shout out to our sponsors here at the Hudson Guild Studio, at the Tech Up Studio. So thank you, Hudson Guild, for sponsoring this podcast. This is powered by Hudson Guild. And this is podcast 23. Thank you so much. Do you want to plug anything in? You want to let the people know where to find you? Well, what's up? We talking to the Knicks? Who we talking to next? Who we getting with?
All right, so I'm plugging myself. Again, my name is Chloe Lucan. I'm a wardrobe stylist, costume designer, based out of New York, but I work in LA and Atlanta. Hit me up for your styling needs, TV, film, commercial, campaigns, fashion editorial. Also do red carpet and runway.
All right. This is podcast 23. We tuning out, guys.